All right, I'd like to open this City Pittsburgh Commission meeting this Tuesday, May 10th, 2022. Call to order, and please stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, Chaplain Jill Chambers, if you want to come forward for the prayer.
Good evening, everyone. May we pray. God, our Creator, we give you thanks that we can come together in this land of the free to discuss, plan for the future, and to take care of the current needs of our wonderful city. We thank you for our elected officials, appointed officials, and all our city workers for the dedicated job and duties they perform. Bless and keep them safe in all they do for us. Continue to bless the citizens and the city of Pittsburgh. May this gathering, as in all future meetings, be conducted with respect to everyone, and may peace and harmony prevail under the guidance of your Spirit. We ask these things in your holy name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you so much, Jill. All right, moving on. Remarks by Pittsburg State University President Dr. Steve Scott. Good evening.
Good evening, and thank you so much for letting me address the council. I've been here a few times, but today it's a very simple task, and that's to say thank you. And, I was thrilled the other day. We had one of our joint meetings with the city commission and various members of your staff, of Darren's staff, at the fire station. And I had thrill of a lifetime. They let me go down the fire pole, following Dr. Sigley. It would have been better if I had gone down first. That way a doctor would have been available. But I wouldn't have thought about that order. But and at that event, you also presented me with the key to the city, and I had no idea that was coming, and that was a really special gesture, and I do appreciate that. My 7-year-old grandson saw that, of course, and he's pretty concerned about me retiring as president. And he said, Papa, can't you go one more year? And I said, no, I'm just not going to do that. And by the way, you're the only person who's asked me that. And he said, can you at least keep the key to the city? So I think he thinks it works on every door in town. Oh. So it's pretty cool, and I think it really speaks to the relationship that we've had during my time as president and the support we've had from the city and hopefully the support the city feels from Pittsburg State University. So I just want to make a few comments kind of more specifically, but people don't necessarily see this, but there's so many different ways we do cooperate. From game day, the special activities that we have where the police force cooperates and works with our police chief, who now, of course, is a commissioner as well. That cooperation is extremely important to the safety of the people who come to our campus. And at other events as well, whether it's Bill Clinton coming to town or Mitt Romney, they have security needs. And in every case, the city has been there to help us take care of those things. And I think that's just so important. Fire department. In cooperation with the fire department, you think we house 900 students or so, 100 of them downtown, and that cooperation, fire safety, nothing is more important to a university president or really to any of us than safety. And so we've had great cooperation with the fire, with police. Think about it, sewer, water, all those things are so important to us as well. And some of the work we're doing with McPherson has to do with moving a water meter. And Matt and his team have been just great to work with to figure out how to do that and where's the best place to do that, how to do that in the most efficient way. And I hope you've seen us as a partner where we're not just saying, help us do this, help us do this. It's what's the best approach? Where's the middle ground that the city's interest and our interest really coincide, and we make some really good things happen because of that. The Plaster Center, a number of years ago, I addressed this group and asked your support for the Plaster Center. And that was a huge risk. And we made that happen. And of course, that's our indoor track facility, And I don't think we could be more proud of the kinds of things we've done there, the number of events we've had there, the sharing with the community during the walking time for community members. We've had national track meets there. We've won a national track meet there, and that's pretty special to be able to do that. We're the envy of a lot of communities and a lot of universities that we were able to put that together. And I know this body made a long-term commitment to make that happen. And I know those things are not easy. I do get that. But we came to you and we asked your support. It didn't hurt to have Kaylin Webb introduce me that night, by the way, just saying. But you guys supported that. And then a few years later, you know, Darren and others said to us, we're going to do something downtown. We've got these buildings that are deteriorating, and they're at the very heart of the town. You know, 4th and Broadway. Can you imagine if we had empty lots there? We don't. So really, you asked us to be a partner and to do something different downtown. And I got to say, there was a whole bunch of people that didn't think we could do it, that we'd have parking issues and other kinds of issues. And I went downtown and ate today, and I was able to find a parking space. And, you know, I don't even mind if I have to walk a couple blocks, because that really indicates there's good economic activity and good commerce happening downtown. And so we feel like that really has proven to be a great project, a project that's driven sales tax collections, and just a great place to be and to be around others and to have a sense of community. You know, they call it brick and mortar social house. And when you go there, you just see so many people you know, and you connect and you have conversations, and it's just a way to help create community. So you just think about all of those projects that have been so good for the university, and really in so many ways equally good for the city. And that's what we're after. I did want to spend just a second mentioning Dr. Dan Shipp, and he is our new president, and he will arrive and begin work on June 6th. I'll step aside on May 27th at noon, and you've typically seen me a lot, but you won't see me in the future, because I'm going to really step back and make sure that Dr. Shipp has an opportunity to establish himself as the campus leader. He and I are visiting every week by phone for at least an hour, and we're talking about the transition, to make that transition as smooth as possible. And he brings a really wealth of experience in enrollment management and student success, retention. He's been at the University of Nebraska, Omaha for a number of years. He's been a student life vice president, so he really has a great set of credentials. And he's very excited about this opportunity. He's got 3 young sons, and I think that's going to be fun to see as a part of the campus community. This family of 12, 11, and 7-year-olds that are going to grow up in the Crossan house. They're pretty darn excited about fishing in the pond. Some people call it a lake behind the house. So I just think that I've been asking groups as I go around and I talk about this transition, that I've had really great support from this community, from the campus. And I'm asking people to transfer that support to Dr. Shipp, to be supportive of him. He won't have the stories I have. You know, my mother went to school here, 1941, she's a grad. So I've had this long record of connections. Dr. Shipp won't have that, but let's help him build those connections and build those relationships and help him get off to a great start. And so as I talk to him, I'll be talking to him about the relationship we have with the city and how important that is, and how we need for that to be mutually beneficial, and where there are issues and challenges that we work them out. And I think you're going to find a great partner in Dr. Shipp, and I'm very, very excited about what he's going to bring to the table. The number one challenge that we face on the campus right now, and this won't surprise anybody, but it's enrollment. And it's just true across the country. College enrollments are down. Community college enrollments are considered probably the sector hurt the worst. The R1s, the big research institutions, have probably been hurt the least, and your premier private institutions, the Harvards of the world, Yale, they still have ample applications. But state regionals have really struggled, and we've been down. We're actually exactly mirroring the enrollments trends at K-State, just almost to a tenth of a percentage point. So our neighbors across the border over here in Missouri Southern, they've been down they're down 23% over 2 years. It's devastating. We're down less than half of that, but it's still very, very challenging. We've removed 149 full-time positions from and those aren't open positions, those are positions we had bodies in, we had people there, and through attrition, we have reduced the size of our employment. Now, some people who don't like people being government employees, they think that's great. Well, it's not necessarily good for this community for us to have fewer employees. And the goal isn't just to have more. That's not the goal. The goal is to serve people and accomplish our mission. So enrollment's just a huge challenge. And what I would ask you to think about, I'm not here to make an ask tonight, but just to think about, are there ways that the city could partner with the university on enrollment? One way you do it is have a safe city. Have a city that has housing codes and housing that's attractive to students and parents that come in. A lot of times our parents come in and buy a house. 3 or 4 years later, they sell the house, and oftentimes they improve the house. So housing matters, safety matters, security, fire safety, all those things matter. How clean the city is, that all matters. And so the work that you do in that regard helps Pittsburg State University grow our enrollment. And I bet in the future you'll hear from Dr. Shipp and think about, are there some ways we can invest? Maybe we invest in kids who grew up in Crawford County, who help the casino do well. It generates revenue, but there's opportunities to help provide some scholarships. Just saying, I think there's some opportunities there. So it used to be we just talked about enrollment. We grow enrollment, the city would be served by that. Now we're totally involved in economic development. And Sean and his team have the economic development, a part of the economic development contract for the city. We're really proud of that, and we want to earn that every year. We want to deliver, we want to help the city grow. It's all about great jobs, great housing, great health care, great child care. There's all these things that have to fit together to make a city grow. And I remember when I first came here, I worked on the bond election for USD 250. A guy named Dan Nineswander was the superintendent, and he kind of roped me into being the spokesperson, and I was awesome at the podium. I was selling that, and we lost 2 bond elections in a row. We did. I thought it was awesome. I thought it was a great project. We lost 2 in a row. And I spoke one time at a service club, I'm not going to mention which one, but it was not the Noon Rotary. And after my just great presentation of what we could do, how we could improve our schools, the facilities in our schools, somebody raised their hand. The question was, well, why would we want to grow? We'll just have more stoplights, right? And more stop signs. That won't be good. But in the economic development world, we know this. If you're not growing, you are dying. It is so clear. And so for us to think about, why would we just not focus on enrollment? No, we're focused on the economic vitality of this region, and we're investing in it, we're committing dollars to it. I love what we've done with Block 22, not just the facility, but small business development folks. They're helping hundreds of businesses grow and get better and get more efficient and treat their employees like they need to treat them. So that is such an important part of who we are now, and I don't think there's any doubt that will continue. We'll continue to invest in, I see the university continue to invest in this city in economic development activities. I went out to the groundbreaking to see the 55 and older housing out by the high school. My gosh, they talked more about Quentin, they talked more about me than I could have imagined. And the reason was, when they came to town to see if they wanted to be in Pittsburgh, they came to the university. And my job was to sell. To sell. This is a great place to be. You ought to invest here. And if you do, we're going to create some programming and we're going to help this thing be successful. So good stuff, great partnerships, great outcomes. And I think we've just begun, because my goal would be that we would build on these. And then finally, on a personal note, when Kathy and I decided to retire, we didn't think about moving to the lake. We didn't think about moving back to Baxter Springs. We didn't think about moving to Kansas City. We thought about staying in this community. And, and I think I've helped the tax base, because we spent quite a bit of money renovating a house. And that's because we believe in this place, and we believe in its future, and we're excited about it. So a lot of presidents will not retire where they've been president, but that's exactly where we're going to be. So I hope to be a part of this community for a long time, and hope to do whatever I can to help it be successful in the future. So, Madam Mayor, I appreciate you letting me spend a few minutes with you. I did bring a gift. And I'm just going to step around here. Can I do that?
Yeah.
Okay. It's a lapel pin. But I don't know the protocol.
Oh, well, thank you.
Thank you.
And this is a lapel pin that's made just for me to share with others. It's got my initials on the back, 2009 to 2022 is the time
Thank you so
I'm
much.
president. And thank you. And we wanted you to have that, so when you come to Pitt State, we hope that you'll put that on your lapel or on your uniform.
I'll find a place for that.
I didn't think I shook your hand. Thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I would like to say something, Dr. Scott, you've got a wealth of experience, and I know you want to step back and take some breathers. But we would hope that you would become intimately involved in the community with your experience, join one of our committees, whatever, that you would become one of our advisors, one of our people. You're certainly welcome anytime.
I appreciate you saying that. I'd be glad to do that. I think the county found out I was retiring because they sent me a jury summons. But I believe in civic duty, and I know all of you do, and I appreciate the fact that you do. But thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I've lived a life of purpose, and I plan on continuing that. Thank you all.
Thank you. We very much appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow. Okay, moving on to public input. Open public input, if there's anyone who would like to speak, please come up, state your name and your address, and you have 5 minutes. All right. Oh, okay, yes.
My name is Kathy Kincaid, and my address is 920 East 8th. And recently, I've had some issues concerning code enforcement on properties. And so I emailed the commissioners and also snail mailed a letter to everyone. So if you haven't had a chance to see it in your inbox, I'll read it to you. I recently had the pleasure of calling in a complaint to the code enforcement officer in my area. The website would not let me do it online because page was down. I requested he review the multitude of violations of my neighbors to the west of me. He was gracious and explained that he had written numerous letters about the ongoing violations. This problem is so bad that everyone in the neighborhood has complained. This is my first time. I find it disgusting that the code officer's hands are tied concerning these matters. First, why does the city even write codes if they're not enforced without consequences? Each citizen has the duty to know and be aware of their locality codes. But we all know in the real world this is not standard practice. Your own website is not easy to navigate, but I have done it. That being said, secondly, a letter of notice with an appropriate length of time to amend the violation is sufficient. Afterwards, when the code is violated again, these officers need to be able to find the violators. With each violation, an increase in amount needs to be levied. There is no deterrent to correct the violations. Third, why are my city taxes, which are increasing by the minute, being used to have an employee write around, document, and send out 60 violation letters a day? There is an obvious funding stream here that is not being utilized. The fines generated should pay for these employees' annual salaries, the expense of vehicles, and upkeep. If I speed in the city limits, I get a speeding ticket. I have to pay that ticket. So shouldn't it be the same for all codes in the city? This is greatly affecting my property values. I cannot even entertain anyone looking at my property because of the nastiness that I live next door to. There are other cities who have progressive thinking that do assess fines. And I'm not talking about assessing fines to property taxes and only homeowners, because that doesn't affect renters. And I've also been told that the county is more than 10 years behind in assessing these fines, so there's no consequences to making our city beautiful. Now, Dr. Scott did touch on a few points a few moments ago about what we can do. Get in your car, drive around the city, and look at the nastiness that you see. Why would anyone want to relocate here? Why would we entertain businesses? And this is the time of year right now when we're having high school seniors come to view our city with their parents to see about going to school here and living here. That's an economic fact. And we're not utilizing a fully paid department by utilizing these funds. And I'd like to know, if speeding in the city limits is a code violation, well, not upkeeping your property is also a code violation. But yet we pay our tickets, but nobody's assessed fines that could easily pay for salaries and vehicles. I travel a lot. All the cities I go to, this is their method of operation, but we don't do it here. And it's a shame, because that's a viable way to fund this department. Thank you.
You think maybe afterwards you might be able to get with Darren and he could give you some instruction on maybe how to, maybe Darren, we could help her and see what's going on?
Yeah, sure.
All right, thank you very much. Was there anyone else who'd like to speak? All right, we're going to close public input. Moving on to the consent agenda. Are there any items to be removed? All right, seeing none. Approval of the April 26, 2022 City Commission meeting minutes. Item B, approval of staff recommendation to appoint John Bozage to fill an unexpired term as a member of the Farmers Market Advisory Board, effective immediately and concluding on December 31st, 2024. Item C, approval of the appropriation ordinance for the period ending May 10th, 2022, subject to the release of HUD expenditures when funds are received. Roll call vote. Or do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Yes.
Second.
Moved by Chuck, seconded by Don. Now roll call vote.
Brooks,
Yes.
Height,
Yes.
McNay,
Yes.
Munsell,
Yes.
Sigley.
Yes.
All right. It's approved. All right. Consider the following. Item A, Blue Spoon Properties LLC. Consider the recommendation of the Economic Development Advisory Committee to allocate $30,000 from the revolving loan fund to be used specifically for infrastructure improvements to support the Blue Spoon Properties LLC renovation project located at 618 North Broadway. Good evening, Blake.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the commission. Proud to bring you a request tonight that we've been working on for the past couple of months involving the Blue Spoon Properties. Many in our community are familiar with their sister company, which is a catering and food truck business that has been in existence for several years. I'm going to ask Brenda and Christina to come up because they are at the point in their business life where they're ready to make an investment in a downtown building. So it's a sizable investment. They made a request to the Economic Development Advisory Committee. So I'll come back and talk about that recommendation from the EDAC in just a moment. But I want to ask Christina and Brenda to come up and give you an idea, just a quick snapshot of where their business has been and what is to come with this project.
Good evening.
Hi.
So I'm going to read because I tend to ramble.
Okay.
So a quick history of the Blue Spoon. We started in 2017 as a small food trailer, doing fairs and festivals as side work. In 2020, we upgraded from that trailer to the food truck you guys see around today. We then converted my rental property I own on 20th Street to a commissary kitchen fully inspected by the health department to offer a unique catering side of our business. That move led us to leave our full-time jobs at Miller's Professional Imaging in April of last year. We quickly became booked and took on a full-time employee in November to help with the volume of holiday orders. 618 North Broadway was recently a computer repair store, and many years ago it was Bob's Shoe Warehouse, which you all might be familiar with. We have a full vision for this space from top to bottom, inside and out, and we think it'll be a great addition to downtown. There's 4,500 square feet of overall space, with 960 square feet of that open space to customize into the catering kitchen of our dreams. That is an ongoing project right now. It's actually being renovated as we speak. There's plenty of storage space to house our food truck also, the supplies and the catering equipment, along with 900 square feet of storefront that has the opportunity to be what we want to be a grab and go and a take and bake storefront. A little bit different than a normal restaurant. This is a little quicker for people on the go. A large bonus to this building also, there's 3 apartments upstairs that will be remodeled and furnished into rented Airbnbs. Really good for the community. There's not a lot here in town, and there's a lot that goes on in Pittsburgh that I think an Airbnb could be utilized for. So that's our goal with that space. One of them is actually almost completed right now and ready to go. So the project is a little more than we thought we would get into, but we walked into this space and immediately knew it was the Blue Spoon Kitchen. It's easy to see the growth in the downtown area and in Pittsburgh in general. We are even more excited to bring this beautiful 1930s building back to life. So thank you for your time and support.
So, Madam Mayor, they have provided some pictures, so I'll ask Ryan or whoever makes that happen to make it possible for the folks at home to see these pictures. And Christina, maybe if you want to just kind of walk
Sure.
us through what we're looking at here.
That is in its current state, current pigeon coop. We plan to bring this building back to life in a way that we see, in a way that feels comfortable for the Blue Spoon in general. So as far as construction, we are going to take the top off. It's just a fake front, so the holes in it actually house pigeons, so it'll be nice to get that off there, and a lot of the pigeon problem in that area will go away. We're going to take the green awning off, and we're going to just totally, the next picture here, oh no,
That
I may not have
sign
put
is-
them in order.
That
Yeah.
neon sign's actually original also, and we
Sign
can
Bro-
save it.
Yeah, we're gonna have Sign Brothers restore that. Let's
May just not
just
be in
move along here. That is our goal. It obviously isn't gonna look as flat as that. We're just gonna plan on doing siding all the way up, because there's actually, it's one of the only downtown buildings that was not brick. So we had to think of something to do. It looks brick on the previous picture, but that's actually just shingles. So we plan to take it with black and all of our blues that we use and white to make it pop. It's gonna be a really beautiful building when we're done with it. When we first got it, this picture here shows some of the plumbing that we had to do. So that section there will be where all of the water for the catering kitchen will happen. And then you can kind of see it's a pretty big space. That space right there, just that space will be the kitchen. So this is what it looks like about a month ago. And this is where we are today. So the catering kitchen is the first goal. We're gonna get that finished. We're gonna get all moved in there, and then we will start really working on that storefront. Our goal is to open up in the fall.
I see you've got included some of the costs.
Yes.
Is that kitchen, is that included the fire suppression system?
We actually talked with the city inspectors, and we are considered an F1 class. So we don't have to fireproof. It's a really low, we're a really low risk. We don't have to fireproof walls, and we don't have to sprinkler, but that Ansel hood, or that hood.
That Ansel's in there?
Yes, it will have Ansel, and they're actually coming Thursday to make sure we have everything we need for that.
But you didn't include that in the price of it, so I didn't know.
Yeah, it was, actually, it's in the general contracting,
Oh.
because we bought that hood from Price Chopper in Fort Scott to reuse it from we bought it from the CHC. And it came with the Ansel and everything, so I contacted them to make sure we could reuse an Ansel.
Right.
And they said as long as the tanks hadn't blown, we could reuse it. So it's in the general contracting price on there. It wasn't just, because we didn't buy it brand new. So-
Thanks.
Sure.
And so, Madam Mayor, this is overall a $314,000 investment by Christina and Brenda. So they did make an application to the Economic Development Advisory Committee, the EDAC, met with Christina and Brenda a few weeks ago and looked at the project. And in order to be consistent with past projects that have received city incentives, the incentive package that they have asked me to bring to you tonight focuses specifically on the building and infrastructure cost related to the building itself. As a matter of fact, again, the request is coming from a separate legal entity in the Blue Spoon Properties, and so the incentive package would total $30,000 that would be used specifically for infrastructure, roofing, plumbing, electrical, those kinds of things that if for whatever reason they were to sell the building or whatever the case is down the line, that infrastructure and that asset would remain in place and would be there for the next business. So the Economic Development Advisory Committee recommendation is for a $30,000 incentive to help with this project. As with our other projects, it would be paid on the back end. They would go ahead and have the work done. provide verification that they spent at least $300,000 on the total project, and then they would be able to get that incentive from the city. So with that, I think any of the three of us would be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you for wanting to invest in the community, and thank you, more importantly, for investing in downtown.
Sure.
Best of luck.
We're excited.
Yeah.
I would move to approve.
Second.
Moved by Stu, seconded by Don, but one thing, your food is awesome.
Well, thank you.
so much.
It's very good.
Thank you.
All right, moved by Stu, seconded by Don. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, same sign. It approved.
Wow.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome,
Thank you
and
so
looking
much.
forward to it. All right, consider the following. Item B, Section 8 payment standards increase. Consider staff recommendation to increase Section 8 payment standards effective June 1st, 2022.
All right, I will throw up the payment standards on here, just so we can see those. So our Section 8 housing office has, I will say our tenants have struggled finding affordable units based on our current housing standards. We have not adjusted our payment standard for 5 years, and everyone knows the price of things have gone up, and that has increased rent. So what we're seeing is someone that would need a one-bedroom unit. First of all, one-bedrooms and efficiency units are very difficult to find in Pittsburgh, but they are one of our greatest needs in our Section 8 program. With our fair market rent, HUD's fair market rent is $572, so we don't even meet HUD's fair market rent price. We are allowed as a city and a Section 8 office to be able to go 90 to 110% of HUD's fair market rent. And so what you see there is proposed is 110% to be able to make our tenants easier to afford a rental unit.
So have very many places raised their rent?
Oh, yeah.
According to this?
Not necessarily according to that. I don't know how they're getting their rent numbers. But yes, we are finding that what people could afford 2 years ago, it's just not the same. And another side of that is we are allotted an X number of dollars from HUD each year to spend within our community. And if we don't spend that amount, we potentially lose that for the next year. And so by raising our payment standard, we will be able to spend more of that money. And if less people apply, we'll still have our dollar amount up that we're spending.
So it's not a use it or lose it type thing?
It is a
Or it
use
is
it
a
or lose
use
it.
it or lose it?
Yeah.
Okay,
So increasing the payment standard of what our Section 8 dollars go to, and this is all money into our community. It will allow us to spend it so we don't lose it.
so this is for new vouchers?
Yeah,
This
so.
is not like existing?
Right, and now our payment standards they will go up. We will increase everyone's payment standard. So it's $525 right now for an efficiency. That will go up to $629 if approved tonight, of what we will pay for a unit. So do you lose money every year? No, we have before, but we pretty much lease up. We had a bit of a fall this year because we had held so many vouchers because our tenants couldn't afford rental units. So I'm not sure where they went or what they did, but if they're unable to find a unit that will, one, pass HQS, and two, the landlord will accept that amount of rent, I don't know what they do. I guess live with a family member or a friend or something until they find a job or are able to afford a unit.
This is different than the rapid rehousing and the other?
Yeah.
Yeah,
This is strictly Section 8.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
What's the percentage of unoccupied rental units available right now, approximately?
I couldn't tell you. Vacant rental units.
We don't have a metric, we don't have a metric.
Yeah, Well, we do not have a rental registry within the city of Pittsburgh. If we did have one, we would have track of all of our rental units.
Would that be the landlords being licensed?
Yes. Yeah. Licensed and rental property registered.
What do? You approach the landlord and see if they will accept HUD?
We generally do not. Before COVID, we were doing landlord luncheons. We were scheduling those, and then before they could really take off, COVID hit and we couldn't meet with people. But what we would like to do is educate landlords on our program, because I think there's a lot of misconceptions around Section 8 housing. And I'll make a plug here, because I think it gets a bad name regularly, just because it's funded by HUD and there's a whole whatever there. But I send all of our code case addresses to our housing manager to go through the list and check off Section 8 assisted houses that were on that list. And there were there's 300 and some homes that are Section 8. We have thousands of code cases a year, and only 3% of those code cases came from Section 8 subsidized houses. So there is a housing quality standard that they have to upkeep, or else they risk losing their assistance. So generally, a house that has trash and couches and all that in front of their house, those generally are not Section 8 houses. Another misconception is we pick where the people live. That is not the case. The only thing that Section 8 does is help the tenant pay the rent. We don't choose where they go. We don't tell them where they go. If you were a landlord and you had a home and you were interested in the Section 8 program, a tenant could come in and ask, do you know of any 2 bedrooms? Mayor Munsell has a 2-bedroom, Commissioner Munsell has a 2-bedroom home. He is approved for the Section 8 program, and we can pass on your information that way. But other than that, we leave it up to the tenant to find their own home.
Would a registry benefit?
Yes.
Our community?
Yes.
Absolutely.
Landlords registering as
So
business?
what impedes us from having a registry?
The commission approving it.
Okay.
But when you're talking registry, it's more than that. It's the
Oh,
landlords.
absolutely.
It's the
Yeah.
landlords being licensed as a business.
Yeah.
And
Well, you
that's
gotta start somewhere, though.
right. I'm not saying that that's not good. That has, we've gotten some pushback in the past years from
Well,
landlords.
we can push back too.
Yeah. So,
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Do I have a motion to approve?
so moved.
Moved by Dawn,
Second.
second by Ron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Quentin. Okay, item C, variance, Walmart. Consider the recommendation of the Planning Commission Board of Zoning Appeals to approve a variance request submitted by Walmart Real Estate Business Trust to allow for an expanded drive-up lane at 1011 East Centennial.
Hi.
Hi again.
Okay. Based on our ordinances and codes requiring a 30-foot site triangle on streets, this project had to get a variance, even though it is a couple hundred feet from the corner and definitely meets that site triangle requirement. Since it is a building located on that parcel, it would have to receive a variance. What Walmart is doing here is adding a canopy over their drive-through for the pharmacy and adding a second lane. So the variance is actually for the canopy to impede that setback. And I think it's only 6 feet into the setback, so.
All the parking on that east side is gonna go away with the canopy.
Yeah, they will be removing the parking and putting another lane over there.
Considering the lines, sometimes it's very much needed.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
All right. Do I have a or does anybody else have any questions? Do Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion to approve.
Moved by Chuck, second.
Second.
Second by Ron. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Quentin. All right, item D, disposition of bids, East Quincy Street Reconstruction Project. Consider staff recommendation to award the bid for the East Quincy Street Reconstruction Project from Joplin to Rouse to the low bidder, Amino Brothers Company Incorporated of Kansas City, Kansas, based on their bid of $5,373,399.07. Good evening, Matt.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioner. So, it's an exciting night. We've been working on this project for a couple years now. We were able to take bids on April 27th. And tonight we're recommending award to Amino Brothers. I can tell you that Amino Brothers, recently, we did award them the airport project for the apron, and that will be more likely to start next year. But this project, there are other projects. They did the 20th and Broadway intersection for us. That turned out it was a great project, as well as the first leg of Quincy when we did it to begin with, from Broadway to Joplin. So we're very confident. We like working with Aminos. They're a good contractor. So there's that part. A couple other things, providing that you do approve this tonight. The project, just to remind everyone, we are a 30-day working, or 300-day working contract. We've just about secured all our easements. We're making a few final adjustments, and there's just a handful of property owners left, and a couple of them have multiple easements on their property. We have secured all the water line materials. We sent out a press release yesterday. We are actually working tomorrow morning. We will start cutting the 24-inch water valve on the big main that comes into town from our water plant, and that we've got one tomorrow and one Thursday. So pretty exciting time, as well as Evergy is working in that area. They have their transmission project going on the east side of Rouse, as well as they will be relocating poles along Quincy for their distribution system is going on. So there'll be some one-lane traffic that continues. So there are a lot of things happening in that area. The railroad agreement is in place. You approve that later. The late start for this project is mid-July, and then the anticipated completion would be through September 2023 with their working days for that. So as stated, we did take 3 bids. We're very happy with how the bids came in. Sprouse Construction from Lamar was within 1% on the bids, and I can tell you that in a conversation with Mission Construction, who was the high bidder on this, their good number was around this. They just had too much of a workload, so they had to increase some costs because they didn't think they could get the work done. But we appreciate the bid and really feel confident in the number. And then just the phasing of the project. And we will, if you award tonight, we will start setting up a pre-construction meeting, and we will have another public input forum with the contractor and the community. I'll kind of lead in and just do that while I'm thinking about it. Pittsburg Nazarene Church out on East Quincy has been very gracious to us. They've allowed us to do some public forums, and we had a pre-bid meeting over there, and so we really appreciate that. Some of the other stuff, the citizens all along this stretch, we've had, we make some negotiations on the easements and stuff, but everyone's been very cooperative. Everyone seems pretty excited about the project. And two people that have really, in the background that you'll never know, that have really helped this project a lot. Greg Hardister, our engineering supervisor, he's done all the easements. We've done all that in-house as a cost-saving measure. I mean, he's made a ton of phone calls and follow-ups and repeat and cleaned up and gotten the nitty-gritty of making sure the easements were correct. And I mean, he's just put a ton of work into this, and I want to give Greg a little props because I mean, he's really done that. And then also Mike Sarley, we secured all the water line materials because of the prices that were just going crazy. So earlier in the year, I mean, Mike got on the horn with a lot of different vendors, chasing down materials and getting all those, so we had those ready to go for a contractor to involve. And that's really not something he had to do. I mean, but he helped me out, and we really did that. And I just, that's a big cost savings to this project that that our staff did take on to help make this thing happen, so.
Man, during the construction, and I know you probably got that figured out, that you mentioned Pitt Nash Church and as well as the houses. How will they get access to the property?
They will have to leave access to, a lot of the residents have drives in the back that come off Stillwell, or there's a few one-offs that we'll have to work through. There's some situations out there, there's a couple houses around the corner of Rouse that we'll have to maintain access to them, and that'll be kind of a means and method as we get through those parts of the project.
And that access would also allow for emergency vehicles to respond?
Yes, we've met with the fire department, we've met with the post office, making sure that everyone's, and as we get closer, we'll be through that. And then anyone that has, any concerns, we have a list, as Greg has called everyone. We've continued to collect emails, and I think we've got, I don't remember how many emails, but we did set up a project-specific email that we're trying to email blast out. So like our press release for the road closure the other day, we send everyone, and anyone can sign up to that. But try to be more interactive with our community if we can to notify.
Thanks.
You have quite a few more residents in this stretch than the first part, but
Yeah, the first
hopefully,
part, there's just really the intersection corner is the big challenge, and then we get past that, and it all goes in phases. It should be a really good project.
and you said July 1st?
Mid-July.
Mid-July.
Yeah, we'll have to, if you award tonight, we'll have to get our bonds and get the contracts executed and insurance in place and scheduling and those type of things. So, but we did put a note into our spec that we want them to begin after 60 days with an award, so.
It's a really important project. Let's get it started.
It is, it's a big
So
feat.
can we
As President Scott said, there's a lot of student traffic that uses that road up to it as well, so.
Can we clarify the final amount
The final amount,
that we're approving,
the amount tonight is for the construction, oops, sorry, I passed it. The final amount you're approving tonight is $5,373,899.07.
899? I'm sorry, I read 399. I thought that's,
That's it, what I just said, just
Okay.
vote on that one.
all right. Well, I read it wrong then. I looked off at Darren's paper and I must have thought that was a 3 instead of
Yes,
an 8.
we
We'll
messed up
cover
on
the
the memo.
$600.
No, that's cool.
Yeah.
I just want to make sure that everybody knew
Pass
that.
the
I
hat and
read,
get that sucker funded.
all right.
Move to approve.
Good
I
job.
second it.
I got one question, just, Matt, at Franklin Road, will that just suddenly narrow down to a 2-lane?
At Franklin Road, no, that will actually be closed. That will actually be closed off as we go through, that part of this very.
No, I don't mean during the construction, but I mean afterward, we're gonna,
Oh, yes, it will taper. Yes, it will taper right past the intersection
okay,
there.
so it'll go out to the city limit as a two
Well, the
lane.
city limit actually goes, out to Free Lane. Yeah, Free Kings, it will be 2-lane out to there,
Right,
correct.
okay.
Yeah, it will, you can see on the, I don't know where my mouse went. You can
You
see.
mean Quincy or Franklin?
Franklin, right past Quincy.
Franklin Road is the first road just past Rouse on
Right.
Quincy.
Right.
And you can see on the far east of the screen, we're actually gonna redo that intersection, and so right at that cutoff, just past that intersection with Franklin is
Oh,
where
is where it'll
it will taper
taper.
back
Okay.
down to the county-style
Got
paved 2-lane road.
Okay.
Anything else? Anyone else? And then I think we had a motion by Stu. Did I have a second?
Yeah.
Seconded by Chuck. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion passes. And then,
Thank you, Matt.
are you still here for this next one?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Item E, award of contract, inspection services, East Quincy Street Reconstruction Project. Consider staff recommendation to award the inspection service contract for the East Quincy Street Reconstruction Project, Joplin to Rouse, to Trans Systems of Independence, Kansas, based upon the selection committee's recommendation.
So Mayor and Commissioners, for this part of the contract, Trans Systems did do the original design, but the engineering and the inspection part of the construction side, we did not have under contract. So what we did was we reached out to our on-call engineers, we reached out to Earls and Olson and Trans Systems, using the KDOT request for proposal format, basically it included everything from indirect costs to where their inspection services were located, the number of inspections, qualifications, all those type of things. We met as a committee, and tonight we would like to move forward with recommending Trans Systems. Their inspector, they do have an inspector in Girard, a couple of extra inspectors in Independence, and then Mr. Sean Turner with Trans Systems here as their PE actually lives in Baxter. So we do have a fairly localized coverage to also help with this project.
What is their cost?
So on a project like this, because of the way it's awarded, they do have an inspector and they have direct costs associated with that. They're obviously governed with when the contractor works and doesn't work. And so, you know, we have an estimated value between probably $400,000 and $500,000 of the inspection costs that take that. You know, sometimes they'll just have one inspector, multiple times they could have multiple inspectors. So that's all based on, so we put basically it's an allowance contract, and we'll negotiate the contract for that. But that's why we asked for an RFP to know about where they're if you're way out in western Kansas, you may have a lot of stay out for your inspectors and those type of things that come along as direct cost for that inspection.
These costs are in the construction budget.
Yes, they are in the overall construction budget of the project.
And then you have a contract for them costs, you negotiate, you said, or?
Yes, yeah.
Move to approve.
No more questions? All right, moved by Don. Do I have a second?
Second?
Second by Ron. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed, motion passes.
Good luck, Matt. Good luck.
Yes, thank you, Matt. All right. Moving on to non-agenda reports and requests. Bi-monthly budget review. Director of Finance Larissa Bowman will provide April 30th, 2022 bi-monthly budget review.
Good
evening.
evening, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm here tonight to give an update on the city finances as of April 30th. And we are a little over a third of the year through the year. So we've received 2 of our 5 tax distributions. We will receive the third in early June. So we started the year out with a little over 20.3 million in the bank, and we're showing at the end of April almost 25.7 million at the end of the month. So this amount will go down throughout the year as we have a lot of, as we're approving projects here tonight, those purchase orders will get on the books. So overall, our funds look very healthy. The economy is still showing strong. The sales taxes right now 14.10% compared to this time last year. So we're still showing strength in the economy, and everything's looking good at this point. So I'll open up for any questions.
Questions, anyone? All right, thank you, Larissa.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, do I have receive for
job,
file?
Larissa.
Are there any other non-agenda reports and requests?
No, I just want to say thanks for Saturday. Most people don't know, but we get together once a year, and you guys gave up a pretty nice day to spend 4 hours, and we all got together and got a lot accomplished, so appreciate your time, and want to make sure we appreciate you doing it.
I'd like to ask Kathy a few questions. She was up here earlier talking about the letter that you had the issues with. If you want to come forward. I did go out and look at her property and what's going on out there, and you have contacted the city, and has anything been done, and then it looked like that again at some point, or?
It still looks the same. In fact, when you were by my property, I expressed that looked a lot better than it had, and you saw how nasty it still looked. The homeowners have been hauling stuff off in the backyard, but it's terrible. And in the process of sending out a letter without any recourse, they get 10 days to clean up their stuff, and then here we go again, it's looking nasty. And I've tried selling my house, and through my real estate agent, was told that nobody even wants to look at it because of my neighbors.
Well, like I said, I came out there and looked at it, and I asked you, because there's 2 houses that had trash containers overflowing.
Oh, it's several houses, and they're all owned by the same family, I understand.
So,
Yeah.
do we know if they got service, or not serviced, I don't know.
The trash is still there.
Still there?
And for those that don't know, and I wish I would have brought a picture, we're talking trash cans that are overheaping constantly. There's probably 10, 12 bags of nasty trash and debris that are piled up next to the trash cans. And every animal in the neighborhood is digging through that, so then the rest of us in that area have to police our own yards of their trash. And it's very disgusting that we have a code enforcement officer, like I said, that drives around and writes letters. And that's basically what is going on.
Kathy, I think the best next step for you is to meet with Darren, and, because that's where the solutions are gonna come.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right, and that's the reason why I brought it to the attention
Right.
of the board, you know, so.
Well, like you said, they have a process they go through with the letters, and there's a time frame that, you know, so, I guess, like Don said, you know, get with Darren and see what can be done.
This isn't the only place. in
I'm sure
town.
that, yes.
Oh, no, no,
There are
and
many, many others just like this.
Right.
I stated that, and I expressed those views when I was visited by several of the commissioners that came to my house, that you drive around this town and it's a problem. It's not just my house that's a problem, you know, and we can't look pretty, we can't put that lipstick on that pig, you know? We have to clean it up.
Let's be, yeah, and it is a problem everywhere, but I think it's important to state that we have a very good inspections crew, and they do a very good job, and they do what they are supposed to do legally. So anybody that's listening that thinks that somehow this is I don't think that's your intent at all, is to say that our inspectors aren't doing their job. They have a tough job to do, and it's a tough place to do it, and they do a great job.
I mentioned that in my letter,
Yeah, I
that they
realize.
are very gracious and respectful, but until these property owners or renters are fined where it hits their pocketbook, they don't care. They get a letter, they clean it up, if they clean it up, and we're right back there in 10 more days.
Thank you for your opinion. Appreciate you being here tonight.
Thank you.
Move to adjourn.
Well, I had one thing I wanted to say. I had the opportunity to host a bunch of fifth graders to tour City Hall and the fire department, or police department the other day. And Darren did an amazing job with these kids. You can't believe how many little kids wanted to come work for the city of Pittsburgh. They had it all lined up, what departments they wanted to be in, and I was thoroughly amazed at how you were wonderful with them.
Awesome.
And they were happy, and they had pizza here with the Joe Noga, and it was a pretty amazing morning.
And they all
But,
want to be firemen, right?
No, actually, they wanted to work in City Hall.
Do they want to be an inspector?
But
Maybe
thank
not
you.
anymore.
Thank you, Darren.
We'll work on them. Tammy really put all that together, so if anybody's gonna get any credit,
Yes.
and thanks for saying that, Cheryl, that's very
Yes.
nice. But she does all the legwork, and Noga got them all together, and
Yes,
they were a attentive group. It was fun.
they like the jail cell the best back here. But anyway, yes, we have a motion to adjourn by Stu, second?
Second.
Seconded by Don. All those in favor say aye. Aye. We are adjourned. Have a good evening, everyone.